Hey, welcome, Chatty Patty. It is the media chat room where the celebrity headlines are talking. We have been gone for a minute, but we back with the jump off. Like we let Kim up in here, okay? Y'all, I had a death in the family, so I've been gone for a few days, but I'm back. Um, I hope that all y'all are ready to get back in these headlines because baby, we've been missing the headlines and a lot has been going on. I have been wanting to get back with y'all, but better now than ever. So we are back to talk about Wendy Williams. Now, y'all, we talked about Wendy Williams when the documentary promotion started to come out, where they was promoting the show Where is Wendy Williams? And during that episode when we had the live behind the headlines, we said that we were very interested in watching it and we was gonna come back and commentate about it. Well, I am sad to say that I have not gotten a chance to watch it yet. And I really, really wanted to, but like I just told y'all, I had a debt in the family and I have been busy trying to get back into the swing of things because I had to go out of town. But y'all know I be in the headlines and the streets be talking, and everybody is talking about the documentary. They're talking about what they don't like, how bad Wendy is looking, and before the documentary came out, remember they started to kind of give a little bit of context as to what was going on with her health, which was her being diagnosed with a form of dementia, which was attributed from alcoholism. So I kind of wanted to talk more about that because again, y'all, the headlines are talking and nobody is really liking this documentary that came out because the light that it put Wendy in. Everybody thought that this was going to be like her comeback story because everybody thought that she was getting better. However, it looks like again, this guardianship is really taking a toll on her. And that's what I really wanted to focus on because if you watch the other video, if not, go make sure you go back and watch it. We talked about guardianship because I do have experience in guardianship in the state that I am. I'm actually, fun fact, I was a certified guardian because for my job it required that. So I actually performed and over. I was a part of an oversight team for guardianship. Now, guardianship, of course, it varies from state to state, obviously, but a lot of it have a lot of similarities. As I stated in the other video, I was actually able to help my friend navigate their guardianship, have a better understanding of it, help navigate her way through it with the guardian for her father at the time because I knew a lot of information about it and it's very, I guess, a lot of people don't understand it because a lot of people don't have people who are under guardian. So that's what I wanted to do. Just give a little bit more context as to what I am hearing in the streets from the documentary. And from what everybody is saying is, it appears that Wendy is very lonely. Of course, she's seemingly ill. But however, there was a point in time where she seemed to be getting better whenever she was with her family, i.e., her son, her sisters, her niece, blah blah blah. That's kind of like when she kind of get in her right state of mind because they kind of have, I guess, maybe like a plan or a routine whenever she was with them. So just to give a little bit more context for guardianship, and I did go through and pull some of New York's laws as it relates to guardianship because some people that I was watching throughout another channel wanted to know what they can do. So just in case y'all don't know, the laws, guardianship laws in particular, are put into place from your legislator. So make sure that whenever you're voting and whenever these people are out here in their politicking and trying to get y'all to vote for them, make sure that their agenda includes things that are of importance because this program a lot of times or uh, this guardianship law a lot of time kind of goes under the radar. It's not a whole lot of people who are focused on it, and a lot of people even before then they didn't really have a good idea of it because not a lot of people know that people are taken into guardianship basically, on a regular basis. But right now is in the public because people like Britney Spears and Wendy Williams are underneath guardianship, and everybody like, whoa, what is that? How could this happen? How could this be? And I'm gonna give a little bit of my commentary as to what I think is happening and where things are going wrong in Wendy's case. So I told y'all I pulled up some law from New York because what's happening in my state as it relates to guardianship is a little different. But however, it has a lot of the same things like the purpose again of the guardianship that I wanted to show y'all. There should be a whole lot of things that this guardian does in order to basically keep Wendy independent and keep her family informed. Now, what people don't know about guardianship is although you're the guardian, you're not supposed to isolate. The whole purpose of the guardian is to make sure that they are safe, that they are healthy, and that nobody's exploiting them. So some of the key things that we look for in guardianship is health and safety. That's like the number one thing. And so when it comes to health and safety, if Wendy is a dementia patient and she is not taking care of herself, she's eating, that could pose some health and safety concerns because one, if she has dementia, she could be out here roaming the streets. And honestly, that's a lot of times how people get into the system because when people are just roaming the street, a lot of time they're elderly. APS, Adult Protective Services, are called and then they then routed to the guardian or to the states that could be looked at and evaluated for guardianship. And one of the things that we evaluate are least restrictive alternatives. Now, if you look in this law right here, um, I believe, yeah. So when you look at it, that's one of the things that they talk about in this law because with guardianship, you do have the power to make decisions, but you don't have the power to just, run that person's life, kick everybody out of their life and say, no, you no longer have the ability to talk to them unless that person is a proposed threat. That person is compromising this person's health and safety. This person was known to be a person who exploited this person. This person was known to be someone who put them in danger and who's they're living with them, but they're not watching them, or they're living with them and the house is junky and they have rodents and they're living in a house with feces, things like that. Unless that is the case, these people should be in contact with their families because their families are the one who help the guardians to make the decision because the decision should be made on the best interest of the person based off of this person's wishes. So the guardianship is supposed to be the final person to make the decision. However, it should be the decision that's based upon what that person would want if they were not incapacitated. And in order to be underneath a guardianship, that person should be incapacitated, meaning that they cannot make a lot of these decisions on their own. They need help. So the person who is the guardian should have that best person interest at heart. So a lot of the screenshots that I do have on the screen, y'all can take the time and pause it and read it. But here are some of the duties of our guardian, which there's different type of guardianships also. There's limited guardianship, there's full guardianship, there's guardianship of just the person, and then there's guardianship of the estate. So I'm assuming based off of what is in the media, Wendy has a guardian of the full person in the state. So she has a guardian of the estate. So that means that person determines where she lives and what happens with her finances. Now let's talk about that because that's what everybody was in a uproar with when she first got guardianship or got taken underneath guardianship. Now, when I was watching one of her friends do an interview, they were saying things like Wendy. didn't have no food in the house, which is a health and safety, or like, something along that lines, because if a person is not eating, that's a concern, definitely, of a person who is a guardian. um so when she was talking about that, because she is over her finances, I mean, if Wendy is has dementia and she lives on her own, I would say that that probably would be a problem. And if she's in the house with somebody, who is she in the house with that she doesn't have food? And the person who is in the house with her, they should be able to have like basically some pocket change of Wendy's, so that she could have her basic necessities. Anybody who is underneath guardianship, you're not just a fish and you're just waiting for people just to come along and drop you a little piece of bread in the water. Like, if she's living with someone, or someone is living with her to monitor her care, to make sure that she's taking her medicine, make sure that she's going to her doctor's appointments, so on and so forth, then that person should have some type of access to Wendy account. Meaning, even if Wendy have two separate accounts, maybe she have a account that is for spending, and maybe she have an account that is for savings, or they have her monthly money that's just being held. But they should be able to have money, and whenever they're going to make transactions, they should be able to make transactions and have receipts. Or if they're making it with her cards, they can see all of the transactions. But she can give her basically like an allowance, because Wendy is not on Medicaid, so it's not that they have to only keep so much money in the account, and they have to monitor it in that way to make sure that her account stays within a certain limit. Wendy, whoever is monitoring her on a daily basis, they should be able to have some type of money in that house on a card, accessible for her daily needs. But the person, whenever they're over her finances, they're gonna want to make sure, of course, like that person not buying stuff for them. They're only buying stuff for the person who is under guardianship. They're mainly making sure that, okay, Wendy, she ran out of money. She have no more cash on hand, and her monthly money that she gets, her monthly income, is basically being depleted because she don't have a job no more, or because all of her funds have been exhausted. Now she's in charge of basically trying to monitor her assets to determine if something needs to be sold off, so that she can now retrieve some money. But again, that's the role of a guardian, who knows what they're doing, and not doing it just for exploitation reason, or just for a paycheck. Because guardians, yes, they do get paid because they are responsible for maintaining a person's day-to-day life, not living with them, but making sure that, again, they have the things that they need. And one of the things that I thought that was interesting in the New York law, because these are New York laws that I'm showing y'all, is, and I can't even see it, I ain't gonna lie, because this writing is actually kind of small. I didn't know it's gonna be that small. But basically, their guardians in their state is only required to see them, lay their eyes on them 4 times a year. So I thought that was interesting, because these guardians, the ones who are showing up in the news, and these people who have guardianship over these people who have money, it kind of starts to make me think that um there's some type of financial benefit. Because if you think about it, a person who is responsible for overseeing the life of another person, and you're an attorney, or you're a business person, because these are a lot of times when these celebrities and stuff are underneath guardianship, that's who they have over them: attorneys and business people, whatever. Like, they shouldn't have time for that, because again, this person is not their only client, I'm sure. They have to manage other people, because I'm sure the amount of money that they're getting from them is not enough that they're able to not have jobs and not have lives or whatever. So these guardianships are placed to these attorneys from judges. So y'all know there's a specific type of group, right? That means that they know people, they know each other, and it starts to look like these people. again, may not be doing it based off of the right intentions, and it is a money grab possibly. Because I would be definitely concerned, because Wendy have people in her life that could be her guardian for free, I'm sure. If her son was not her if her son was her guardian, if her niece was her guardian, if her sister was her guardian, I can almost bet that they would not charge a fee to be her guardian. What they would probably do is they would probably purchase her a home and be living in the home, or have some type of care attendance when they're not in the home. And because they have that home for her, they don't have a bill for themselves, like, a day-to-day living expense in terms of like a house, which is a lot of times people's biggest expense. So when you look at the whole circumstance, like, it really starts to raise eyes. And the reason why they're able to get away with this is because they're working together for one, and there is a financial benefit that they're getting. Again, having to only see a person 4 times out of the month, that means once a quarter. And really and truly, the way that it works, honestly, it's just 4 times a year. So you could choose the last 4 days technically out the year to lay your eyes on that person. That to me shows that, this program or this law is not really is not written in the way that it would make sure that this person is taken care of, on a quality, with some type of quality. Because where we're from, or in our state, we have to, by law, lay eyes on um people who are wards of the state, or who are underneath guardianship. They have to be able to be seen at least once a month. You're putting eyes on that person to be able to physically assess their living condition, that person, and what is going on. Also, like I said, the family should be able to also see that person. The the um the guardian, to me, is isolating Wendy's family because she has something to hide, in my opinion. Because the idea of guardianship is not to isolate. It's really to, you want to be able to allow them to feel like they're a person, and this other person is just helping you to make the best decision possible for your life. Um, so I don't know, like, behind, let me pull up my YouTube page, because on my screen, with me being live, I'm sorry y'all, I'm getting sick. I'm a little under the weather. On my screen, I can't really see what y'all see. So let me pull it up so I can read exactly what they say. uh, 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 and y'all, if y'all come into the chat room, make sure that y'all like the video, and make sure that y'all share with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed, because we need that viewership. Okay. And I hope y'all have been doing well. Why I can't pull up my let me try to pull it up a different way so I can see what's going on, and I can read what they say. Let me try to pull it up a different way. All right. So the removal of guardianship. So in this case, people, like I was saying, people want to know what you could do for Wendy, or like what could be done in this situation. Now, this guardian could remove herself if she really had the best interest for Wendy, and again, Wendy family was not exploiting her. She could remove herself and make them successor guardians, because again, a person who is a person's guardian, a lot of times that's because they don't have family to make these decisions for them. And if you're really trying to make the best, you're trying to work, let me start over. If you have the best interest of your guardian in place, you want to be able to talk to the family to know what this person wishes is. At the beginning of the guardianship, y'all, you have to actually create a plan that tells you kind of like, okay, well, what their medical decisions are, what their what their day-to-day lives are like. If a person likes to play bingo, you want to make sure that you keep that person in bingo, should as long as they can afford it, as long as they're able to get there, and it's not causing any kind of wreaking any kind of havoc to their day-to-day lives. And a lot of times the family members are the ones that can tell you what these people like, and who um and what their wishes are. And honestly, I'm surprised that Wendy, being that she was a celebrity, and a lot of times they travel a lot and anything can happen, that she didn't kind of have her directives, advanced directives. That's a big thing in guardianship. I'm surprised that she did not have her advanced directive to say like, hey, should anything happen to me, then basically my son will become my guardian. Because if she had something like that in place, then this lady should basically be kicked to the curb, because there's no reason why she should be paying for guardianship when she has people that can definitely step into her place. And that's the reason why she probably will not relinquish her guardianship roles and responsibility, because she's getting paid for it. Now, how much is she getting paid for it? That is to be determined, because I hear that now they have sealed Wendy's documents. And one thing about guardianship is you have to continuously, on an annual basis, apply, not apply, but like basically file. You have 12 months from date that it was filed, to file again, to make sure that guardianship is in place. Because a lot of times, whenever you're acting up on the behalf of someone, you have to present these documents, and it'll tell you guardianship is in place from X date to X date, and there should not be a gap in there should not be a gap in in guardianship services. So, because of the financial benefit that she's getting, there that's what's leading me to believe that she probably will not remove herself from guardianship. Now, how much is she getting paid? Again, when I was going through New York laws, they said that it is determined by the courts how much that person is getting. Now, if these lawyers and these judges work together, then only God knows how much they could be paying themselves for basically doing nothing. Because again, you only gotta lay eyes on them 4 times out the year, according to New York law. Go back to the previous slide if you want to see it. You only literally, people could call you on the phone and ask you, oh well, hey, can they do this? Or hey, their appointment is such and such date. Um, or they need a tooth abstract or whatever it is. And that's another thing, like making sure that you know that person's religious background, because sometimes too, based off of a religious standpoint, like if you was Jehovah's Witness, if she was a Jehovah's Witness, she can't get blood. Now, how would this guardian know that if she's excluding the family? There is no way for her to know that. So that's why guardianship is not a tool to isolate you from people. But in this case, it seems like she is being isolated so that it could seem like she doesn't have family. So that it could seem like nobody can see what's actually going on. And the fact that she's not coming around often enough to see the conditions of which Wendy is living in. Um, um, with the removal of guardianship, also, um, like I said, she could remove herself, because the family has made mention that they want to be able to be her guardian. But when there's financial interest, you can see why that would become a problem, because she want to be able to financially gain from the situation. And that also will lead me to believe too, when you are attorney, a lot of times know that you get close with these judges because you're going into the same courtroom. So, you start to get familiar with them. And as these cases are coming, they kind of already know who they can look to, because there's only so and such that do this, or so and such and such. But if you think about it, what attorney who actually have a practice, who actually have a business, who actually have clients, is really wanting to sit up here and do this? Also, on a yearly basis, a guardian, I think I said that, should be filing um the estate, her accountant, the her financial accounts with the courts. So if her records were open and unsealed, you will be able to, or we should be able to go up into there and see what is being filed on her annual accountant to show exactly how much this guardian is being paid, how much she's paying out for her living expenses, how much is being paid for her housing, different things like that, like what her monthly income is and how is it being paid and what her assets, all that kind of stuff should be reported to the court on an annual basis. And the court, before they are signing off on it as judges, they should be able to monitor and be like, okay, well, this is odd, or even an ad litem. Some of these ad litems who are appointed to the court should be able to look and be like, well, no, that's not right, because this person, they getting X amount of money, and then you're not even really making sure that their finances are being monitored, because you're allowing miscellaneous payments to go here, or because all this stuff should be line item. All right. So when we're talking about discharging or modifying the power of guardianship, we're really talking about, and this is again New York's law, the court appointing the guardian shall discharge such guardian or modify the powers of the guardians where appropriate, if it appears the satisfaction of the court that the incapacitated person has become able to exercise some or all of its powers necessary to provide for personal needs or property management, which the guardian is authorized to exercise. So I did not watch it. Like I told y'all, I was out on vacation. I mean, vacation. I was out of town for a funeral. And I kind of saw just the previews. And from the previews, now I don't know how old that was and when the dementia stuff started to come into play. But Wendy should have, at that point, whenever she was in that cognitive space, had at max limited guardianship, which means that she probably, because financially she was just allowing people just to take her money and she wasn't really managing her own money, she should have just had a guardianship of her finances, which is of her estate. And the person, Wendy, should not have or wouldn't have needed a guardianship of her person, because that person, a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but that person, unless it's a limited guardianship, they are determining where you live. Now, Wendy, probably, to me, based off of what people saying on social media, probably wants to live with her family. And if she did not have a full guardianship of her person and of her estate, then she should have been able to basically move to Florida and move her guardianship um, for finances over to the state of Florida, because if you it is against the law to serve in a capacity of which you are not authorized by the courts to serve as a guardian. And she, I'm sure, had some kind of a level of cognitiveness at the time when she was signing these papers for her to be the executive producer of this show, for her to be able to articulate herself the way she was articulating during the clips that was going around on the internet. So I think that they have definitely failed Wendy, and she has been a part of, some kind of scheme that's being that's being we like that's happening in the background. um and another part of what this law for New York is saying, basically, for some other reason, the appointment of a guardianship is no longer necessary for an incapacitated person, or the powers of the guardianship should be modified based upon changes in the circumstance of the incapacitated person. So basically, if Wendy starts to show health improvements, her medical records should be reviewed by a doctor, and based off of what that doctor is saying from that cognitive evaluation, she would be able to get her rights restored, and even a change in the situation. say like if people was not a part of Wendy's life, so to say, like nobody was able to find her family whenever she first got underneath guardianship, and then all of a sudden her family showed up. Let's say for the first year, or within the time within that first year, you say, "Oh, I'm interested in being her guardian." You may take time to assess and make sure that that person, okay, they're visiting them. They're they don't have any kind of financial benefit, like that they're trying to exploit her or something like that. Like those are a change in the circumstance of not necessarily Wendy, but of her family. And they now have expressed that they want to be her guardianship, and that again should take precedent over a person not knowing this person and who have something financial to gain from it. Now, the resignation or suspension of powers of guardianship, and again, we're talking about this because people want to know what could they do. So this is back to what I was saying, where the court appointing a guardian may allow the guardian to resign or suspend the powers of guardianship. So like I told y'all, this lady, she could literally resign from being Wendy's guardian because her family is in the picture. And it should be based off of the best interest of Wendy. But when there's powers that's happening, or the powers that be are working together so that they can spend this lady money, certain things are not considered. But again, there are laws into place, but the problem is there's nobody governing, sounds like, this guardianship these guardianship laws in order to make sure that the people are protected. Now, this is who Wendy guardianship is, and I forgot the lady name. Morrison is her last name, I believe. But she is an attorney, like I said. This is the lady who is in charge of making these decisions for Wendy, who is excluding her family. And it is said that she's being sued for like $30 million because there was another scheme that she was a part of with trying to take money from a person by luring them into guardianship, telling them that they need a guardian in order for them to properly spend their money that they won from a lawsuit. And come to find out that this person did not need a guardian, because not only did he have his children, but the man like runs and operates a home living situation. Like basically, he have like a home health service where he's actually taking care of people. Shit, he might be taking care of damn people who underneath guardianship. And it's been years, and the courts have not relinquished his rights back to him for him to be able to make his own decision. And the excuse me, the only thing that is and it's not even a problem, but the reason how I believe that they were able to do that is because this guy, he is not a English speaker. He speaks Spanish, and even during his interview on the news, he needed a translator. So due to that language barrier, they were able to con him into saying that he needed guardianship services, and basically running up this man money, spending his money on litigation fees and guardianship fees, while he's taking care of damn people who underneath guardianship in a home health, and they're not really under guardianship. I'm just saying, he's running a damn home health agency and cooking and doing all of his daily living. So essentially, the money grab is real, and these people need to really be investigated because this is just a quick lick for them. They're able to really skate underneath the radar because nobody's watching. And I believe, like with Britney Spears, her guardianship or conservatorship was able to be overturned is because it kept being played in the media, because we were able to see on a constant basis that she was okay, and it appeared that she did not need a guardian because she was not incapacitated, and that was to me why they relinquished, or why they took away her being underneath guardianship. So If y'all want to be able to help Wendy, that is going to be a way that you can help her by continuously putting out this information, continuously talking about it, because then when legislators come and these people are running for these different political offices, they can know what is important and they can know what people want. They can go in and revise the laws that are not really protecting or serving the people. But a lot of times for them to take on um, these laws, it have to really hit home, and it have to really matter to them in order for it to be something, or matter for to the people. It have to be something big enough for them to want to stand behind and feel like people are rallying behind them. So, y'all, this is Wendy's niece, and what I was hearing in the headlines. I hope I get a chance to watch this documentary, because y'all already know, baby, the streets don't wait for nobody. Baby, these headlines stay bumping, okay? So, if I'm not able to watch it, I'm just basically going off of what the people said. And like people were questioning, I guess, like the motives of her family, which like was her niece and her son and stuff like that, saying like, why did they allow her to be seen the way that she was seen? And from my understanding, is, her family did it, one, because she wanted the program to be filmed when she was in her right state of mind, but two, it was a way for them to basically expose the system potentially, because again, they're being shut out. There's people that's around her that's not making the proper decisions for her, and they're being let in by this guardian who is supposed to be protecting her. And so her niece went on, what's the show with Whoopi Goldberg, The View, and she kind of explained again, like they have no benefit other than for her aunt to, one, get better and to make sure that they have the proper people in place taking care of her, because they are not getting paid for the show that they were a part of with Lifetime, and she's not getting paid appearance fees to go to these different shows when she's making a guest appearance. Is basically out of the love for the aunt, so that they can expose what's happening behind the scene and what's being brought up on was being brought up on Wendy, because of the system, because her son wants to be a part of her life and he wants her to be um you know amongst him, because he, from what I understand, was the reason why when she was in Florida with him, he was able to get her not to drink and to conform to a vegan lifestyle, which is very beneficial for someone who has dementia that's being caused from alcohol. Because as we all know, in addition to the alcohol, the food, all that plays a part in our development and the progression of a lot of these illnesses and diseases. So if her son is able to be a good influence to her, be somebody who has the best interest, I don't see why, again, they would not be allowed to even be a part of decision making. Because, like I told y'all, these people, even though they don't have the right, meaning um, the legal authority to make the decision, a lot of times these family members are making the decisions with the guardian, because the guardian should be making the decision based off of the wishes of the person, who that person is, what they would want if they were in their clear state of mind. And I believe that Wendy was in her clear state of mind, she would definitely want to be around and be under her son, because y'all already know how she basically was like, he was basically like her miracle baby. And especially with her being divorced, he is her world, and I'm sure that she feels that he's probably one of the only people that she can trust besides her sister and her niece. um it's just that bond and that closeness that he probably has with his mom. And again, the state of New York really needs to look at their guardianship laws, make sure that they're being followed by these people who they are appointing guardianship because especially if you are a state that practice and um, facilitate least restrictive options, then definitely this was a ball drop, because her family should have been contacted before appointing a guardianship over her, especially a guardianship for someone who doesn't know her. So that is my commentary for this evening. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I hope that y'all were able to learn something in regards to how guardianship works. Um, it is, it's a pretty interesting topic. It's it's not very complicated to understand, but it should be tailored to the individual and what that person needs. So I'm definitely going to continue to try to watch the documentary, but should I not be able to watch it, I did want to be able to bring some information to you guys to help where you can help, or maybe even get some understanding to where maybe something is making sense, because some people will be like, why do she even have a guardian, or whatever. So that was just my perspective and why I wanted to be able to come on and provide some commentary. Again, I should have wrote down the website, but if you type in like a New York guardianship laws. It's like Law 81 or something like that. Where it'll give you basically the breakdown of everything. But the law is not necessarily the problem. It's the people who are carrying out the law. The people like the attorneys and like the judges who are not following the law. And when they're being caught, they're not prosecuted, or they're not held to some type of accountability to stop not only them but the people behind them from doing this. So I'm gonna definitely be following the story, because I know a lot of people again are upset at what was going on with Wendy and how it's looking, because although Wendy was a gossip commentator and she, dished out a lot of harsh reality to a lot of people, people do understand that that's a business. It was the nature of her business, and it wasn't personal. So seeing her like this, it can be upsetting, because at the end of the day, she is a person and her health seems to be declining, and the people who are there for her are not given the opportunity to care for her. So, like I said, if there's any new developing stories or any new developing headlines surrounding this, I will definitely be covering it. Should nothing else out the ordinary happen, y'all make sure that y'all continue to support the channel. We are almost at 2,200 subscribers. So thank y'all so much. Y'all also make sure that y'all check out the community tab. In the community tab, if I am not covering videos, anything that's happening in the moment, I'm definitely posting it on there, and I'm also posting polls. One of the recent polls that I posted, y'all, and I want to know, if you have not answered it, make sure you go and answer it. Should I start to cam up? Should I start to get on camera? Would that be more interesting? Would that make y'all want to join these lives more? Because y'all, we need more engagement. We need more people to join us so that we can talk back and we can actually create a show, because that's what's going to make the lives more interesting. Because y'all, I already upload videos just giving regular news or celebrity news and gossip information. So the purpose of these lives is to kind of talk to each other and give our opinion, so that we can interact. So y'all let me know if me getting on camera, is that going to be a way for y'all to support the channel more? Is it going to be a way for y'all to feel more connected, to know who y'all are talking to, so that we can kind of build our little community and our relationship, so that it could feel like who you getting this information from. Y'all make sure y'all check out that poll. Also, make sure if you're coming into the chat, make sure that you hit the like and hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell, so that you know when we drop our next video. There's some more people who are entering the room. Hi to all y'all. Again, if y'all see me on live, make sure that you drop in the comments and leave me a comment so that we can chat. If there's anything that y'all, any questions that y'all had, or any information y'all want to know as it relates to the guardianship that Wendy is under, anything that I know, I'm definitely wanting to share and give more information on. Again, things are different from state to state. Although, I do know a lot about guardianship, some things will differ just because we're in different states. But I hope that again this was informative. I hope that it gives a more of a clear picture as to what should be happening. Like this lady filing all her stuff annually. Again, we as the public are kind of shunned out of it because her case is sealed. So anything that's being filed and reported to the courts, unfortunately, at this time is not able to be reviewed. But yes, I think that this is a explore them exploiting Wendy and them finding it a way to be an easy cash grab. But the way that everybody can help Wendy, in my opinion, is to keep making noise, keep asking where is Wendy, keep asking what happened to her, so that it could be more on the forefront and could actually people actually could be aware that it's a situation that needs to be evaluated. And especially if that lady um, gets convicted, or if they sue that lady for that $30 million for exploiting that other person who was under guardianship. Her her guardian her being the appointed guardian definitely needs to be removed. So y'all, we'll continue to follow it. I hope that y'all have a great and fantastic Wednesday. And that's gonna be all for now. So until next time, bye bye.